Today we will be talking about Erik and Lyle Menendez, the two brothers that conspired to kill their two parents in Beverly Hills, California.
You don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel like you're in a million. It goes on.
It's your girl Treasurelove here, and if you're new to my channel, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the bell, make sure you guys like this video, share this video, and comment down below. And if you're a returning subscriber, you already know what to do. You guys like my new intro. As you guys can see, I did do a little bit of rebranding. Hope you guys like it. While I talk about this crazy case, I will be also painting a pumpkin because 'tis the motherfucker season. No, I don't know exactly what I'm painting on my pumpkin just yet, but we're gonna figure it out. Sorry y'all, I had to put on my glasses even though you're going to see the ring light in my glasses reflection, but I can't see even though it's this close to me. I can't see, so let's get on into getting this painted. Okay, so let's start talking about this story. So Erik and Lyle's father, his name was Jose Menendez. Jose was born May 6, 1949 in Cuba. And his wife, which is the mother of Erik and Lyle Menendez, is Kitty Menendez. And she was born October 14th, 1941 in Illinois. Her parents did not, well, I should say Kitty parents did not approve of her relationship with Jose because, I don't know, he came from nothing. She came from a little something, more so middle class, but he just kind of fled from Cuba to America and tried to make a living, so he didn't have like stability, so they did not approve of it. But she was in love with like his bad boy like lifestyle, so not bad boy but more like mysterious type of lifestyle, so that's why she fell for him. How the hell do I make a ghost? Like, why is this pumpkin so bumpy? So eventually Kitty did get pregnant on January 10th, 1968 in New York, New York. Kitty gave birth to Lyle Menendez. Actually his name is Joseph Lyle Menendez, but he goes by Lyle. A few years later, November 27th, 1970, in New Jersey, Kitty gave birth to the youngest son, which is Erik Menendez. Jump in. So here's what I have so far. Absolutely stupid. I have no artistic ability, so this should be fun. Let's jump to what happened August 20th of 1989. So Lyle and Erik Menendez decided to kill their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, inside their living room in their Beverly Hills home. Lyle was 21 at the time and Erik was 18, and they walked into the living room while Jose and Kitty was watching TV and fired multiple shots at both of them. They both had shotguns. It's said that Kitty was shot about 15 times, which is so brutal when you think about it. Jose specifically was shot right in his eye, and they also shot in the kneecaps to make it seem like a mafia attack of some sort. That was something that one of the brothers seen in like a movie, so they thought that that would be the best way to go about, you know, planting it on the mafia. But let's get into why this happened and the events leading up to the murder. Hold on, I have absolutely no artistic ability. I need ideas. Painting pumpkin ideas. Painting pumpkin ideas? Bitch, you're slow. Erik actually said that he was told by Joseph that he was not allowed to live on campus when he went off to college, even though he had dorms. He told him basically, I want you here every night, and this was because he wanted to continue his sexual assault and molestation on Erik Menendez. What's sad about this situation is that Erik felt like he had no one he can talk to. A few days prior to this, he finally confessed or opened up to his brother Lyle about this, which Lyle was also abused and sexually molested by their father Jose. So he was completely outraged, one, that he didn't know and that it's been going on all this time and he had no idea that it was continuing to go on. He was aware that it did happen in the past, but he didn't know, like, as they got older it still continued, and that caused a major outrage out of Lyle. So he actually confronted Jose, which I thought was very bold of him because Jose could have literally killed him then and there, both of them. But he confronted him, and Jose was pissed that Erik even said anything, which is such, I hate victim blaming. But you know, what do we expect out of a monster and a child molester and a child predator? That's what they do. They're narcissistic and they're going to blame the victim regardless. What kind of nose do I want to do? Do they need a nose? They don't need a nose. Yes, they need a nose. Who's they? It's the real question. Erik, once after he was confronted by his father, he actually ran downstairs to storm out the house, and he saw his mother, and his mother asked what's wrong, and he's like, yeah, you wouldn't understand, like, and she completely just, I think it's probably the worst thing she probably could have done was basically to say, yeah, I already knew about this. I already know what's been going on. You think I'm stupid? Like, I know what's been going on the entire time, and that kind of just really, fudge. Why did I do that? Stupid. That really like was like the nail on the coffin for Erik, because he realized that he had no safe zone. He had no one he can talk to. So he absolutely hated her from that point forward. Which, I mean, I would too. If you knew I was being molested my whole life and you just sat there and let it happen, you're just as bad as the one who molested me. But go off. This side, very ugly. That's okay though. I'm gonna do something over here about that dries. I don't know what, but I'm gonna figure something out. Hold on. The day before, if I'm not mistaken, it was the exact day before, if not then 2 days before, Kitty and Jose took Lyle and Erik out on the water to do some fishing, like out on a boat, and witnesses say that Erik and Lyle did not go near their parents at all, and Erik and Lyle both stated that it's because they thought that they were going to kill them, whether they throw them overboard or whatever the case may be. They really was in fear of their life. They did not move, and they was just acting really strange. They definitely thought that they were going to be killed that day in that moment, despite other people being around. They really had that feeling. Which was August 20th. They made the final decision that evening to go ahead and murder both Jose and Kitty. They stated they did this because they were in fear that Jose and Kitty was going to kill them first, so they wanted to act first. There was threats before this of, you know, being taken out of the will, removing some of their assets, things like that. So people would sometimes make the decision or the conclusion that Erik and Lyle killed their parents for money. But based on Erik and Lyle's testimonies and their statements, it is due to, one, the sexual abuse, the psychological abuse, as well as the emotional abuse, the comparison to one another, the lack of emotional support, but maybe the financial aspect was just a cherry on top, because it's almost like there's nothing I can do to ever please you. I don't think the murders had anything to do with any financial gains directly, so that's just my opinion, at least for Erik. I don't know, Lyle kind of was like a little, but I really believe Erik, it was like an emotional rage. After the murders, they waited a little bit to see if any of their neighbors were called the police, but no one did, which is kind of shocking, but no one did. Oh man, I don't have enough space for Boo. Okay, I'm gonna do this then. I'm gonna make space. What they did was they went to a movie theater to try and get tickets to kind of timestamp for like an alibi, say like, okay, it couldn't have been us because we were at the movies, but obviously the tickets that they bought was too late and it didn't have an earlier timestamp on it, so that idea fell through immediately. Then they drove around, they did what they had to do to hide the weapons and the clothes that they were wearing. And when they went home, Erik was in the room, or Erik was in the living room. And next thing you know, Lyle takes it upon himself to go ahead and call the police and do the police call to report his parents' murder. I will say he's a great actor because wow, that call was convincing. But I guess you have to do what you have to do sometimes, and when you're in the rage and you're in the midst of whatever, of, you know, the heat of the emotion, you can pretty much do anything, which is also scary if you think about it, but hey, I'm not judging anyone. Police got there. Obviously the boys had to get on the ground and put their hands behind their head and, you know, sit down, and they kind of stated like, oh, it was the mafia, you know, so they kind of planted that idea into the authorities' mind almost right away. So anyways, after the murders, Lyle and Eric spent almost $1 million in shit. Eric did say that it was mainly Lyle. Like, he didn't really care, but he did get himself a Jeep, a Rolex, and a few other things, but it was mainly Lyle. This did not look good at all. With the amount of money that they're spending, they're trying to get copies of the will, they're trying to get the life insurance money, all these things. That's kind of suspicious when you just lost your parents. Shouldn't you be worried about who did this to them and just other things other than the money aspect? Oh man, I think I just accidentally, I think I'm fine. So, leading up to the confession, Eric was absolutely going through it. He was having mental breakdowns, having dreams of unaliving himself. And obviously that was bothering him. He was mentally, he just couldn't take it. So he was recommended, but I don't know if it was his cousin or one of his best friends, to go ahead and talk to Dr. Oziel, which was their therapist. So he went to Dr. Oziel and he confessed to the murders. Now, Dr. Oziel did a few things that just pissed me the fuck off. Like, why the hell did you call your mistress? I get being fearful of your life, but shit, you the one that you asked. You sat there and you asked him to confess. Well, no, he didn't. But anyways, calls Lyle into the office, and Lyle was very pissed that Eric didn't come to him first, that he actually confessed. He told someone. And oh, when Oziel called his mistress came to the office and kind of put her ear to the door and overheard like the confessions and Lyle threatening Dr. Oziel. So she actually kept this secret for a while until Dr. Oziel cut her off as a mistress. And so she got upset, she was hurt, she was embarrassed, and she went to the cops with all the information, including exposing that he actually recorded some of their sessions where they confessed. So there was no getting out of this one for the boys. Alright, I didn't do too bad, honestly. Look at this. Doesn't that look cool? I actually kind of killed that little one too. Okay, let me perfect this ghost, because this ghost is terrible. Fast forward. The boys are arrested, and with that being said, I don't like this. Let me go back to this brush. With that being said, there is no denying that it was done. It's recorded. The boys confessed to doing it. Now it was just the why. Why did they do it? And of course, they stated that it was due to the sexual assault. They thought that their lives were in danger. They felt like they needed to kill before they be killed. Before they were killed, if that makes sense, which I'm sure it makes sense to you guys. You guys are not slow. They stated that the reasoning was because of that, and obviously they told the whole story about sexual assault. Now, the thing that makes this just a little bit iffy, but someone who just completely understands where they're coming from, I cannot fault them for this, but they did not mention the sexual assault to Dr. Oziel when they confessed to Dr. Oziel. So that's what kind of makes the story a little rocky, but at the end of the day, a victim is going to confess when a victim is ready to confess, especially when the abuse is internal and it's not like it happened to someone else. This was a parent molesting their child, and that is the hardest thing to confess to, because you're always told that you're not allowed to say anything, and obviously when it's your parent that's molesting you, then you fear them, and you don't want to hurt them. There's that psychological game that's played when you're very, very young, and it can carry on and lead up into your adulthood. So I think that's where they were in that time period, especially Eric. I feel like Lyle was more in denial. Like he didn't want to believe it. Like he said anything and everything instead of sexual abuse to almost like bury it and forget that it ever happened. The first trial, it actually ended in a hung jury. Both of the boys did testify, but it ended up in a hung jury, which I think is bullcrap. But like their lawyer stated, it's because of the male. the men in that era or on the jury did not believe that another man could molest his own sons, because usually molestation happened to females, not males. So yeah, they just didn't believe that it was even possible. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it was the time, but it truly was the time, and it's very unfortunate. So it ended in a hung jury, which I think they had a great chance of actually getting out if the men wasn't so ignorant. But with that being said, they went to second trial where the sexual abuse allegations was not allowed to be spoken about. That kind of defeated the whole purpose of the first trial. And they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And they're still serving their sentence to this day. The talk that has come up is like, should they be released? New evidence proves that sexual assault actually happened. You know, maybe they need a retrial, whatever the case, all these other things that's being said. Now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my personal opinion, if anyone freaking cares, which, I mean, I do, so that's good enough. This mouth is jacked up. Like, this pumpkin is just crazy. I think that, yes, they deserve to get jail time, because at the end of the day, you committed a murder. You committed a crime. You deserve to get jail time. So with the first trial, if they were found not guilty, they wouldn't have gotten any time. Like, this is ridiculous. They wouldn't have gotten any time, but like I said, I personally think they deserve the jail time. They did the murder. They did the crime. They killed their parents. Double homicide. You need to go to jail. Now, do I feel like the sentencing was harsh? Yeah, I do. And I feel like by now, let them out of jail. That is my personal opinion. I don't feel like they need to still be in jail. They did what they needed to do. They served their time, and now it's time to let them out. Like let the boys breathe. Like, they did their time. At this point, it's going on 30 years. The crimes in 1989, 99, 2009, 2019. How many years ago was 1989?
There are 9 months, 1 week.
So almost 35 years was 1989. So I feel like, you know, they served their time. Most cases, especially with murder cases, you get 25 years. They've had good behavior, you know, no type of issues in prison of the sort. So I feel like they served their time, and they should be let out and given a second chance at life, especially being that they were young at the time. I get they were still adults, but at the end of the day, they were young, under emotional distress, and there's evidence that has came out to prove that there's emotional distress, including a letter sent to a cousin about 8 months prior to the murder. So this shows that it was a leading up. It was a situation that led up to this murder. It wasn't just like a premeditated murder due to money, which some people in the media like to portray, but that's not the case here. So there's witnesses, family witnesses that testified in the first trial that stated that they witnessed abuse, and they heard things that they did not approve of or thought was very, very, very inappropriate. But they didn't actually see anything. They saw the weird things, such as like Jose taking the boys into the room or taking them into the shower. He wanted to shower with them at 14, 15 years old. You know, giving them a certain stern look that kind of said, shut up, like you're talking too much. They witnessed Jose's strictness. When Jose took Eric into the bedroom, you are not to go down that hallway. You are not to question what's going on in that room. You are not to interrupt anything at any given time. So this is just more testimony and more evidence that sexual abuse was happening at that time. Like I said, I believe that they served their time, and it's time to go ahead and let the boys out, okay? Some predict that they will be out as soon as November, which I think is just ridiculous. I think that's just getting people's hopes up for no reason. November of 2024 is way too soon. Today is October 9th. You know, so that's doing a little too much for me. It's kind of bittersweet. The majority of their life has been without abuse because their father was murdered, but the majority of their life has also been in jail, which I'm sure that's not where they want to be. Obviously, who wants to be in jail? I think it's time to let the boys out, give them a chance at life, to see what is life like without being abused, without being controlled, without being molested. I think it would be nice. So that is all that I have to say about Erik and LYLE Menendez. Leave your comments down below. Did you watch the Netflix special? Did you watch the trial? Did you watch any documentaries? I know there's so many different documentaries and little things out there about this case. Just make sure you guys are doing your own research and not just taking other people's opinions and running with it, because that can be easy to do as well. Yeah, here's the final product. Here's this side of my pumpkin. Here's my ghost that kind of sucks, but you know, Mr. Ghoulie, he's kind of cute. And then here's my bloody boo. Oh, I forgot these. This is like little angry, two little angry faces. The pumpkin's kind of cute. Yeah, I approve. I like it. Well, if you guys enjoyed today's video, like I said, make sure you guys follow me on all social media, subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, comment down below something sweet, share this video with 17 friends. I got 13 cousins, 3 mamas, and 2 besties. Let me know what you guys want to see in my next video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!